There are stories of how a decision on Eric Ten Hag's future is going to be made today, but all those are allegations. We had some last week, and it was Jacob's Ben that said it's really going to be happening this week, and last week he said it's not happening. Fabrizio told us that we are heading into the final times of making an Eric Ten Hag decision at the club of Manchester United. So we are here waiting to see what is really going to be announced today, as we obviously jump onto what is happening, as we are really losing out onto players, and Manchester United is rumored to have gone ahead, obviously coming through to really make late attempts to sign a certain player that Chelsea have gone ahead to unveil today, and they never went ahead obviously pay out dividends. Welcome to the United Matters channel. How are you guys, and where are you watching us from? Rokan David is my name. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're totally watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. It's the United Matters channel. It's a Friday. Juma Karim to the Muslims, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are, and we are in here to discuss lots of stories. The Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ, and may the living to God bless you abundantly. Let's see close to 300 likes smashing this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Right now, let's obviously start it off with the guy himself, Fabrizio Jamie Jackson. All of this week has been telling us that it's gonna be happening this week, and even today he has said clarity on Eric Ten Hag's future is expected today, but whether this will occur is unclear. Now, you see to it that he has not gone ahead to be conclusive that it's going to be happening today, but as anyone could think that as it was expected to be announced this week, it is expected to obviously be announced today. But there is nothing like a sign that such news is going to be really put out by the club of Manchester United. I don't really see any sign in there for you. And this Mira, he's a United correspondent for the Daily Mail and Mirror Football. He told us that Manchester United sources have indicated the season review conducted by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his football operations team remains ongoing, and there is no firm time scale in terms of its anticipated completion. So this is where I come out and really feel so much agitated with the Glazers, because you can't tell us that you are now into the second week, ever since we went ahead to obviously win the FA Cup, and you had gone ahead to make a decision to sack Eric Ten Hag, and it has now gone ahead to last for 2 weeks. What is the motive of these people? That is the big question. What is the motive of these guys as to why they're really taking this long? And I tell you, if the decision has been made internally that they want to sack Eric Ten Hag, even though they don't want it to happen, sack him. Sack Eric Ten Hag. If that's the decision you've gone ahead to have internally, because it's really costing our season. It's really costing our season and how we are going to be planning for it. Remember, the preseason is going to be short. It should be remembered that way back, players could go or used to go on holiday for just 1 month, and they could return in the last week of June to obviously start training for the preseason, train for 2 weeks. Then in the third week, they start obviously to play those friendly games. And that means if you get the last week of June plus the 4 weeks of July, those are 5 weeks, plus the first week of August, those are 6 weeks of intensive training and friendlies. Now, if it's rumored that teams are going to be returning into the preseason after the Euros, do you know what that means? It means that they are going to be training for less than 2 weeks, meaning that the preseason might only last for a full month, and that won't be enough to say to it that any manager who is supposed to be getting in through to be the manager of Man United gets all what he wants, because even other players that would have gone here to participate in the Euros won't be having that time to come in through and obviously fit into the club very well. Now, when you look at Dallo, Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Kobe Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, You can talk about Ericsson, who we expected to obviously leave the club of Manchester United. So we're having close to 8-9 players who are going to be representing for their countries in the coming international tournaments. That is the Euros and Copa America. And you really pity for the manager who is going to come in through, because he'll be obviously having Onana, Bissaka, Malacia, Lindelof, Evans, Kamboala, Lindelof, then Casemiro, Anthony, Mason Mount, who else? Obviously start off with the training sessions for the club of Manchester United, and maybe the added players that would have gone ahead to sign, but the process is really not robust as expected, because when INEOS took over the club of Manchester United, all our thoughts were like, they are gonna do it, and they're obviously gonna really give us a very huge sounding reason for them to obviously do the needful for this club. Now we are having a correspondent coming in through from the Dutch side for the ADNL. He has told us that there have been extensive discussions at Manchester United over the past week, also about Erik ten Hag's future, and part of the delay is due to the risk Sir Jim sees in any decision. Whether he chooses to stick or twist decision will rest on him and the management he's putting in place. Obviously, if you are any elite manager or any elite owner that's going to come in through, you don't sack Erik ten Hag. How do you sack the fans' favorite? That is it. That's the same thing that happened to Todd Boehly at Chelsea. You know, he's trying to make things right, but the fans have already gone ahead, known to say to it that he's the right man to run the club of Chelsea, because Tuchel, a Champions League winner, gets sacked. You get in Graham Potter, no time given to him, you sack him. You get in Pochettino for one full season, you've gone ahead to sack him. That means you are not really sack bound, you know, and the fans will never obviously go ahead to trust you. And Sir Jim has to obviously come out and understand the decision he's really gonna make. Then he added that Erik ten Hag is currently on holiday in Ibiza as he ponders his future at Manchester United or elsewhere. There is doubt from Man United and from Erik ten Hag about whether to continue together. The scenario of parting ways amicably cannot be ruled out. And what can cause the scenario of these two really parting ways amicably? Obviously, we know the reason. The reason is simple. It's when the INEOS side wants to put in things that Erik ten Hag feels is not right for his proper managing and shaping of that squad of the club of Manchester United. But I was reading somewhere else, and I remembered that Erik ten Hag was really acting under Mark Overmars as the sporting director and Edwin van der Sar as the CEO for the club of Ajax, and they are really doing great. And I think he had a say on which player to leave, on which player to come out. But I think this time round, they should just sit and obviously come up with a compromise, because we are running short of time. And the more they take, the longer they take, it's like they are leaning so much on obviously keeping Erik ten Hag here, because if you know what it takes, obviously bring in a manager and really get him to analyze the squad and then make a decision on which player should leave and which player shouldn't leave, guys, I tell you, it's not gonna be that easy. And the longer we take, it's like Erik ten Hag is gonna be kept here. You understand? Something that we want, but why put us on this tension for all this long? Then we had Disco Mirror. United will have to pay Erik ten Hag close to £9 million in compensation after they qualified for next season's UEFA Europa League if he's sacked. Now, we've always gone ahead to say this, that sacking Erik ten Hag and his staff will obviously cost United close to £15 million, I tell you. So, we are in need of money, and they're trying to obviously get in managers. You know, I don't know which manager is that. Is it De Zerbi? God knows. But why would you go De Zerbi over Erik ten Hag? You know, and the money would have gone ahead obviously compensate Erik ten Hag, would have gone ahead obviously coming through and really do him the needful and really do us the needful to sign in players. And if I'm INEOS, I can set Erik ten Hag to fail. And I've gone ahead to hear some people telling me, Rokani, do you know that INEOS is setting Erik ten Hag to fail such that they sack him at the end of the season and not renew his contract and even announce the manager who is really gonna take over the job? I've said all yes. All yes. Even if they get him signings late, it doesn't matter for me. Ten Hag, with the squad he has, he can obviously try to do the needful. If they can retain him Amrabat, if they can get him to Debo, if they can get him a CDM and a center forward, I think Erik ten Hag can assemble a very good squad that can take us through the season and really reach in the calendar year, or reach at the comments of the calendar year of 2025, when he has gonna hit obviously prove these people wrong. I know Erik ten Hag is gonna prove his haters wrong. That is it. And however much INEOS is trying to setting him to fail, I know he'll disapprove them. Like they did during the FA Cup. They thought that everyone would be like, sack Erik ten Hag. They had gone ahead obviously put out their propaganda. The PR machines had already gone ahead obviously come out. And guess what happened in the previous 2 years, in the previous 2 weeks after he won the FA Cup? The PR machine have gone back to the limbo. They cannot have space to obviously put up their explanations because they are related or sounded as fake. You understand? So, whatever INEOS is doing, they're helping Erik ten Hag. If Erik ten Hag gets sacked, he will walk away with his head high, because INEOS will be like, we are getting you out, and Erik ten Hag will be like, can you get me my money? Very many clubs will be looking after Erik ten Hag. That is it. And I tell you, Erik ten Hag won't last a season without getting a job. It's not going to be the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer affair. That is it. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is really one of those managers that was really learning on the job and went ahead to obviously make a wrong move to come in through to manage the club of Manchester United by that time. And to me, where I blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and where he got it wrong was, he would have gone ahead to get in people who had experience managing big teams, like to act as his assistant manager. But if at all you get in Kieran McKenna, who after you leaving, he left Man United and went down to Ipswich, is it League One, promoted the team to the Championship, now with the Premier League. That shows you how far off the team of Manchester United was. You don't need a manager like that. If you're having a manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who is learning on the job, you have to get in people who really know what the job is. Look at what Pep Guardiola did. He knew that he can really manage the club and got in a person he felt like has a lot of Premier League knowledge and is a very good coach who pays a lot of attention to detail, and that was Mikel Arteta. And that's how stuff went ahead to happen. So, as we speak right about now, all of us, we're in the dark. No one can read the room, and we're here to wait and see how things really happen. But it's really mind-bending to us getting to know the future of Erik ten Hag this week. Jacobs Ben said this week, James Docker said this week, Jacobs Ben said this week. It might be put out in there for you. Now, in the due course of us really holding on for so long, right, we've finally lost a player, and we've been told that Man United made a late attempt to sign Tosin, but talks over a move to Chelsea were too far advanced. United offered a concrete proposal at the weekend, but Tosin had already committed to joining Chelsea. He underwent medicals on Tuesday, and today they've gone ahead to unveil him. Have you gone ahead to understand that we're losing out onto players? We are losing out onto players because of this. I tell you, if Tosin was one of those players that Ten Hag was considering to get to Man United, the reason as to why he failed to come in through was because our managerial situation is hanging in balance. You know, it's in tatters, and no player can come to a club who's to a club where a manager is having 1 year left on his contract, you know, and his current situation is really unknown. So that's what INEOS is causing the club of Manchester United, and INEOS delayed Ten Hag decision costing the club of Manchester United. What are your thoughts about that story or those stories that I'm going to hit obviously compile in a 15-16 minute video? I call upon for your reactions on everything I've gone here to say, as Mason Greenwood says yes to the side of Juventus. I'm coming back with that story in here, and Rokan David, he's my name. Guys, continue to subscribe. Don't forget to obviously hit the notification bell after subscribing, because that will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Rokan David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later. Muslims, Juma Karim, the Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Let's add dots and see in the next 2 hours what you're going to be having for you, the viewers of the United Matters channel. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye for now.